let's talk about something that is, well, frankly, it's just absurd. It's a story I see play out over and over again. A company, a big one, decides, okay, we're going to get serious about email security. So they go out and buy the fanciest, most expensive solution they can find.
Yeah, we're talking $250,000 for a product that promises military-grade AI and quantum-ready encryption. You've seen the marketing slicks. And after all that, after spending all that money, what happens?
This happens. An email from, and I'm not making this up, Microsoft support desk real at hotmail.com just waltzes right past all that shiny new tech. It lands in an inbox, someone clicks, and bam, game over. How on earth is this still possible? Well, the answer goes all the way back to the very beginning of email itself.
See, the root of this entire mess is what I like to call email's original sin. The simple fact is, your inbox was never, ever designed with the trust model built into it.
Let's just do a quick history lesson, right? The protocol that runs pretty much all of our email, SMTP, was built in the 80s. It was for a tiny network of university researchers who all knew and trusted each other. So it has absolutely zero concept of sender verification. Think about that. Even though solutions, real fixes, started showing up in the 90s, here we are, decades later, and most of the internet just hasn't bothered to implement them.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The system you're using to approve $100,000 wire transfers has the same level of security as sending a letter. I can literally write 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue as the return address on an envelope, and the post office doesn't care. They'll just deliver it. That's email right now.
And here's the part that is just so frustrating. This isn't some unsolved problem. We're not waiting for a breakthrough. We have the tools to fix this. They've been around for decades, just sitting there, collecting dust on a shelf.
So what are these magical solutions that everyone's ignoring? Well, there are 4 key standards that, when you actually use them together, completely change the game.
First, you've got SMIME. The easiest way to think about this is like a digital signature for an individual person's email. It uses a certificate to cryptographically prove that an email really came from Bob in accounting and that no one messed with it along the way. It's been around since the 90s, and guess what? Your email client probably already supports it.
Next up, you've got SPF and DKIM, and you got to think of them as a team. SPF, the Sender Policy Framework, is just a public list that says, hey, these are the only servers allowed to send email for our domain. It's like a bouncer's guest list. Then DKIM adds a digital signature from your domain itself. So SPF says it came from the right place, and DKIM says, yep, and we, the domain, vouch for this message.
Now, DMARC is the real enforcer. It's the instruction manual. SPF and DKIM can flag an email as suspicious, but DMARC is what tells the receiving server what to do about it. It lets you say, hey, if an email claims to be from us but fails those checks, don't just flag it, reject it. Don't even let it through the front door.
And finally, there's the one that almost nobody seems to know about, MTA-STS. This standard makes sure that the conversation between mail servers is always encrypted with TLS. Without it, an attacker in the middle can sometimes trick servers into sending email in plain text where they can just read it. MTA-STS slams that door shut for good.
So look, here's the most important part. These are not a la carte options you pick and choose from. They are a stack. They're layers of defense. SMIME proves the user's identity. SPF and DKIM prove the domain's identity. DMARC is the policy that enforces the rules, and MTA-STS protects the whole conversation while it's in transit. You put all 4 of these together, and that silly Hotmail phishing attempt is dead on arrival.
But, and this is a huge but, most organizations that even bother to set up DMARC do it wrong. They set the policy to P equals none. That means monitor only. It's exactly like installing a whole security camera system to catch burglars, but then never hooking it up to an alarm or the police. You just get a nice recording of yourself getting robbed. It's completely useless.
So, this all leads to the big question, right? If these tools exist, they're standardized, and they work, why in the world is nobody using them? Well, let's talk about the excuses, because honestly, they just don't hold water anymore.
The arguments you always hear against implementing this stuff are really predictable. And, they're just completely out of date.
Excuse number 1 is always, oh, it's just too complex. And look, maybe that was a fair argument in 2005, when you had to manage thousands of SMIME certificates by hand. But today, that is a solved problem. There are entire platforms and automation tools built specifically to handle this stuff for you.
And then you get the cost argument. It's too expensive.
This one's my favorite because it's just plain wrong. DMARC, DKIM, SPF. You know what those are? They're just text records you put in your DNS settings. They're free. The only cost is an engineer's time to set them up, which is nothing compared to that $250,000 box that isn't even working.
Okay, enough of me ranting about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. Let's make this real. Here is a practical, high-impact plan you can actually take into the office on Monday morning. First, check your DMARC policy. Seriously, this takes 5 minutes. There are free tools online that will tell you exactly where you stand. Second, actually implement the stack, SPF, DKIM, and a DMARC policy that's set to quarantine or reject. Then pilot SMIME. Don't try to do it for everyone at once. Start with your execs, your finance team, the people who are actually getting targeted. Then go look into MTA/STS. And finally, and this is ongoing, teach your team what the new good signals look like a checkmark next to a sender's name that proves they're legit.
So when you boil it all down, it becomes really clear. This has never been a technology problem. The technology is fine.
The problem isn't that we need to invent some new magical solution. The tools are here. They are mature, they are standardized, they work. The problem is purely one of implementation. It's the massive gap between knowing what to do and actually, doing it.
So I guess I'll just leave you with this question. The cryptographic seatbelts for email have existed for more than 20 years. They have been crash tested. We know they work. So why isn't your organization buckled up?